At Five Star Bank, community is at the heart of what we do. Every day we strive to have thoughtful solutions for our customers and help our communities prosper. Honest dialogue about the issues affecting the region is vitally important to that prosperity. We are proud to be part of the conversation and hope you'll join in.
On May 6th, the Sacramento region is being asked to come together and support the nonprofit community during 24 hours of online giving. Times have changed since the days of wealthy donors like Rockefeller and Carnegie. Philanthropy has changed. Community involvement in technology has empowered smaller donors to become a more important part of their favorite charity. Here to talk about the big day of giving on May 6th and the state of local giving is Priscilla Enriquez of the Sacramento Region Community Foundation, Jim Tabucci, Core Director of the Sacramento Mandarins, and Daniel Kaufman of Third Plateau Social Impact Strategies. Priscilla, what is the big day of giving?
The Sacramento Region Community Foundation, Placer Community Foundation, and Yolo Community Foundation are really pleased to host the Big Day of Giving on May 6th. And on May 6th, starting at midnight, we will ask donors all across the Sacramento region to give to one of 394 nonprofits. We hope to raise $1 million in unrestricted funding.
In one day?
In one day, and engage 5,000 donors, with 30% of those donors as brand new donors to the nonprofits, and really bring this entire community together and encourage everyone to give.
Daniel, what does this type of giving promise in terms of reaching more people?
Yeah, I think that traditionally philanthropy has been seen as purview of the extraordinarily wealthy. It's something that when you talk about philanthropy, you picture Bill Gates, you picture the Monopoly man. And I think efforts like the Big Day of Giving open philanthropy to everyone. It democratizes giving and it empowers the entire region. Everybody has a role to play, and it's a really exciting way to connect individual citizens, everyone in the region, to the great work that the nonprofits in Sacramento are doing.
Jim, what does this mean to the Mandarins?
Yes, so for the Mandarins, this is actually our second year participating. We were part of the Arts Day of Giving last year and are back again because of the successful campaign.
And remind us again what the Sacramento Mandarins are.
Oh, that's great that you asked me that. I always love talking about the Mandarins. We are an organization focusing on transforming the lives of youth, and we do that through just outstanding performance excellence. You can think of us like a marching band, but at the highest level of competition there. And so this year for the Day of Giving, we're looking for this to do two things for us. One is, of course, to provide donations into the organization, which will then be used to help us tour for this upcoming summer.
And you guys go all over the world, right?
We're all over the country, so we cover, we just calculated it. We're going to be traveling 10,000 miles this summer in 35 days.
Wow.
And that's basically all by bus as well. So we had this opportunity to raise the funds to allow us to tour and to pay for all that fuel that we have for this upcoming tour. But the other thing about this is we believe it increases our capacity within our organization.
Really, how so?
Just in terms of helping us to build our organization, to build our brand, to build the capabilities. For example, we didn't even have an email list prior to this. But through the Day of Giving, this allows us to really ramp up our capabilities.
Daniel, that's really interesting because it seems like that the Region Foundation putting this together is one part about the money, but the second part is about empowering these organizations to do something more than what they've been doing before. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's really simple, right? There's a cost-benefit analysis that every nonprofit goes through when they're raising money, and always is going to make sense for them to go after donors that have a substantial amount of money to give to them. That's sort of the natural inclination. And I think what this does is say, you know what, there are a whole lot of other people that really want to support your work, but you as an organization actually need to have the capacity to reach those individuals. And so the Community Foundation, I think, has done an amazing job of providing nonprofits with the training and capacity building services that these nonprofits need to be able to go out and reach those individuals. So
it's really about capacity building. And we know nonprofits work so hard, nose to the grindstone, and we've told them that give yourself permission to sell yourself on the big day of giving, to share your story and inspire everybody.
Is that a hard thing for nonprofits to do?
I think it's a learned behavior. You know, we're used to solving problems. We're not used to talking about successes. We're always trying to, you know, solve something. And so through the Big Day of Giving efforts and the partnership with many partners in the community and the Community Foundation, we've given them tools, created marketing toolkits, really tried to amp up their ability to engage on social media on May 6th. But really, it's for them to tell their stories and inspire people like us and your viewers to give to them on May 6th.
Yeah, and that's something that we didn't know from the Mandarin standpoint, that we would actually be getting into that. I mean, we started off with the Arts Day of Giving thinking that this was going to be one day,
Right.
and that was going to be it. However, the lasting effects have carried on, and that's my encouragement to other nonprofits out there, is to use this as a way of amplifying your message and building up your capacity.
Did you all have any idea about this ripple effect when you first took on this initiative?
Well, no, I mean, I think from the Arts Day of Giving, we were really surprised to see all the arts groups come together and engage on social media.
Give us
email campaigns.
the stats of what happened last year.
Well, last year, amazed that we woke up on April 30th. The Day of Giving was on April 29th. 525,000 raised, over 3,000 individual gifts from 2,600 donors. The average gift size was $117, but over 60% of those gifts were $50.
So these were definitely not the Rockefellers or the Gettys.
no, and I think what's so great, and I think this played out with the Arts Day of Giving, I'm sure it will play out again with the Big Day of Giving this year, is that it's not just a moment in time, right? These donors are coming, making a donation to the organization and saying, I'm personally interested in what you're doing. I care that you're successful. And that opens the door to a long-term relationship between the organization and these individuals. So those individuals then are audience members for performances. They are volunteers for programs that organizations are running. They're committed members that can evangelize the work of these organizations. It's not just the $10, $25, $50, $117 that this individual is giving.
We know that corporate giving has gone down, foundation giving has gone down, and many nonprofits have to engage and steward individual donors, and the Day of Giving is a way to do that.
Now, here's what's interesting about this. I wonder, it raises a question for me, because you talk about the size of the donations and the organizations involved, like the Mandarins. Are the early adopters of this new format the big, really august institutions, or is it the smaller, scrappier folks?
I think the door is open to both. It's
But
across the spectrum.
so far, who's really embraced this and adopted this new format?
I think that, across the country, these giving days are happening. And I think what we're seeing is that smaller organizations have an incredible opportunity because they're being given a platform by whoever's organizing these giving days to reach substantially more people than they individually could on their own. And so these small, nimble organizations are able to develop creative social media strategies, public events that generate attention, and I think that effort opens the door to have a groundswell of support that they may not otherwise have access to.
How do you deal with the issue of some organizations might feeling that this sort of effort cannibalizes what they regularly do?
Well, it really doesn't. I mean, I think the Day of Giving, because it's online, really encapsulates the ability for the next gen to participate, and that's the next generation that nonprofits need to reach. There's a myth that you have to be big and have a huge marketing budget to be successful on this Day of Giving. As Daniel said, it really does democratize giving. You just need to make a $25 donation and be one of 1,000 to have an impact on an issue or a nonprofit.
Now, I'm confused. All right, is it Day of Giving or is it Big Dog? Because I've heard it referred to by both. And I guess you're the official steward of this. So.
Well, we're having fun with the acronym. So there's lots of memes on social media with dogs, and I think that serves as a tool for nonprofits to have fun on the Big Day of Giving.
Okay, all right. So the change that we're dealing with here with involving younger people. Now, the Mandarins has always been involved with younger people, because
Yes.
that's who it is that you reach.
We serve the youth, yes.
How is this type of approach helping to engage not only your potential donor base, but the young people that are a part of your programs today?
It's actually great in that it allows us to basically turn our youth membership into ambassadors for the program.
Really?
Yeah, so if you think about it, somebody in high school or early college, they may not have the money to be able to donate, but they know people who do. And so they can be ambassadors to get the word out. In fact, the person who's going to run our social media, he just turned 21.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the other thing about that is this whole campaign allows us to have a level playing field. We're not a huge organization. In fact, we have, 0 unpaid staff. Or 0 paid staff.
Zero paid.
0 paid staff. Everybody on our staff is volunteers from the administrative standpoint. And so this levels the playing field for us, and we can go out there just like any other organization and get donations.
And it's also the power of social media, that once you post something on Facebook or Twitter, your followers will see it and their followers may see it if they retweet it or reshare. And that's sort of the concept of crowdfunding, and that's what we're embarking on May 6th.
Yeah, there's something uniquely special, I think, about the way that Big Day of Giving is set up, in that it's this community effort, it's this communal kind of flag in the ground. And one of the things that's been demonstrated over and over as you see surveys of next-gen donors, millennial donors, is that one of the things they really care about is being part of something larger. And so it's already set up for individuals to feel like they're part of something larger.
Incidentally, what is the difference between this approach and crowdfunding? Priscilla raised this, and I am curious.
Yeah, I mean, typically crowdfunding is set up where an organization is raising money for a project, some new effort that they want, and that it tends to be, there's a tipping point. They say, we want to raise X. If we raise that much, then we'll actually charge your credit cards, and individuals who've made the commitment to give will fund the project. Here, what it is it's a much broader community effort, and we're saying we are going to, as a community, raise a substantial amount of money to support the nonprofit community writ large. And so it's not any particular project, it's not contingent upon raising a certain amount, it's this broad effort that we're going to raise the money for the community.
Priscilla, does this approach, is this a harbinger of things to come in terms of how we as society are going to engage in philanthropy in the future?
I really think it is. I mean, we see online giving increasing every year by 13%. And the next generation, that's the space that they're playing in. And we know that, for example, arts organizations, they do need to nurture that next generation, their next supporters, their next patrons, to support them, and that's the same for nonprofits as well. And the other thing about the Big Day of Giving that I want to speak to is the fact that we are coming together as a community to really support the nonprofits. It's something for us to be proud as a region. The nonprofits are a huge economic driver. They solve problems, they heal people, they save lives. And so it's our opportunity as a community to thank them.
It does seem that this is a really sort of connective type of event where the region feels like it's pulling together in some way, which is great, but unfortunately somewhat unusual.
It may seem unusual, but it doesn't have to be, right? I think just the ability for the regional foundation to bring us all together and to train us together, right? We've been able to be part of the training events. So serving as a panel speaker or giving a webinar, I think it brings the community together, right?
And across the country, as these types of efforts become more and more common, what are we learning about the evolving nature of philanthropy?
That's a very broad question. I think there's a lot of answers to that. I think one of the things that I continually see is that organizations that are willing to try new things, that are willing to try and reach new audiences, are rewarded. And so creativity, building excitement, being optimistic, and engaging with audiences, all of that opens the door to increased giving and a much broader base of donors. And I think we saw that with the Arts Day of Giving as well.
Yeah, we absolutely did. And the other thing is donors are also asking for results. They want to know, how are you spending my money? What are you doing? What impact are you having? And to be a nonprofit to participate on May 6th in the Big Day of Giving, they actually had to run through some hoops to participate. And the foundation is really supporting transparency, sharing your financials, sharing your outcomes, who's on your board, is there 100% board giving to your nonprofit and cause? And I think for the nonprofits, it's refreshing for them to be able to talk about this and share. It's also a challenge for them.
Yeah, and in the interest of transparency, one of my nonprofits is actually participating, and I can vouch for the fact that it was a very exhaustive Inspector 12 like vetting process, which I think goes to an issue that you said, that in the younger generations that there are different types of expectations for engagement.
Absolutely. I think what Priscilla just touched on is especially true among millennial donors. I think it's been demonstrated over and over again that millennials want to see impact. They want to understand what their donation is going to, and they want to understand that the organization that they've supported is actually making a difference in the issue that they care about.
So the foundation has supported the region's first nonprofit philanthropic database called the Giving Edge, and that's the backbone to the Big Day of Giving. And all the information that, for example, your nonprofit put up there will be viewable on the website on May 6th. And so a donor can go in and learn about the finances, who's on the board, impacts and outcomes.
There are these two benefits that we've been talking about, right? So one benefit of the Day of Giving is that it provides an opportunity for individuals to give to the organization, so it democratizes giving in the region. The other benefit that we're talking about is nonprofit capacity building. There's the explicit capacity building that the Community Foundation has done by putting these organizations through a pretty incredible 8-week training program that's given them, social media skills, messaging skills, all of that. But there's a part of this also that's behind the scenes that I think organizations may not even be aware that they are building capacity, and that comes through this platform, right? The Giving Edge, where organizations are learning how to better articulate what they are doing. They're actually starting to measure their impact, and all of that is going to build towards a much longer-term nonprofit health.
It's actually spurring lots of conversations internally in nonprofits about, what are we doing? How can we improve our impacts? How can we engage our board better? So that capacity building has really amplified itself for the Big Day of Giving.
Well, and I think one thing that is really clear for us is that by filling out all the information, right, by making sure that you're up to speed with the Giving Edge, all of that information that you're filling out there is leverageable, right? So, for example, when we go for grants, we lift and copy and paste out of the Giving Edge and prepare that into our grant proposals.
Sort of like forced discipline,
Yeah.
It's good for you, right?
So let's take this a little bit further, in that we've talked a lot about the millennials and their involvement and how this technology is a way to engage them. As the current leadership of many of these nonprofits age out, and whether it's from a staff perspective or from a board perspective, what are we learning through processes like this that help inform how we start to bring people, younger people, into these organizations to assume positions of leadership?
We need to work on it. So the Giving Edge is actually giving us a lot of data about board diversity, for example, number of staff paid in full-time or part-time. So absolutely, I would say that the Day of Giving is our launch to dive deeper into the nonprofit sector. We've told this to the nonprofits. I think just by exercise in this process, they've learned that too, that after the Day of Giving, they've got a lot of work to do. But that's something that the Community Foundation will take leadership on, to take a look at how we improve the sector broadly.
Let me share with all of you a recent conversation. We had some young leaders on the show, and one of the things that they said as a common point of view was they do want to be engaged, as you say, in charitable organizations and organizations that are doing good out in their community, but that they're not at a place yet where they've got the resources to be able to give. And so Day of Giving, the big dog, is a way for them to play in that way. But then organizations also say, though, if somebody can't write the big check, this is going back to the Carnegies and the Rockefellers, they don't meet our criteria for being in positions of leadership. And so going back to your statement about how they want to be engaged, these millennials, is there any perspective on how those two issues might be in conflict with each other?
I don't think they're in conflict. I think what this is there are organizations that have figured this out, and there are organizations that will figure this out. And that is that board leadership, other forms of leadership within the organization is not just about financial resources, immediate financial resources. Organizations that are willing to take the long view and understand that it is valuable to engage millennials, next-gen leaders from as early as possible, empowering them to own parts of the program, to own parts of the community and the messaging to that community. There's a million different ways to engage them. It's not always just about writing that big check. And so it's thinking creatively about how to bring them in.
But isn't that the mentality, though, of a lot of nonprofit CEOs, though? And board members?
It may be the trend and the understanding, but those big check writers don't start off as big check writers.
No, they don't.
And so you never know what a $25 donor will give down the road.
Let me just kind of illustrate this for you. So many years ago, when I was even more broke than I am today, and just starting out as a professional, I was invited on the board of California Musical Theater. Couldn't write a check, couldn't afford to buy a ticket, anything else, and had never been exposed to the art form. They let me on the board and actually gave me free tickets to attend performances. Well, that exposed me and sort of hooked me into that, and over time, I've been a consistent donor over time, and the 50 cents has now become 75. I mean, but in fact, that was really an outlier experience. But one of the things that at least in the conversations that I have is that there isn't a discipline yet where it is that major organizations, whether in the arts or other forms of philanthropy, really have a decided, intentional way of dealing with boarding the millennial generation. And I don't know if are there any trends related to that?
I think nonprofits need to start answering some of the questions that millennial donors are asking, and that really hinges on impact. And I think nonprofits are a little stuck in trying to do that. And as I've said, we're constantly working so hard to solve the problem, and I think we need to flip that. What are we doing that works? What are we doing that's well? What are we doing that's positive? That's what the new donors want to know, because to them, that's where the long-term investment of their donation will go.
Right.
Yeah, we at Third Plateau do a lot of thinking around next-gen organizations. And by next-gen organizations, I'm not talking about organizations that engage next-gen. I'm talking about organizations that I think are going to become the leading organizations of the future. And what it really means to be a next-gen organization is to be an organization that is forward-thinking, impact-driven, embracing shared leadership, and is thinking about collaborating. All of those things, by baking those into the DNA of the organization, attract millennial donors. So if what the organization is doing is just thinking, how do I get money from that millennial? That's probably not the right mindset. What really the mindset should be is, how do I structure my organization to be successful for the long term? Because that will inherently bring along millennial donors.
I would say the other thing is we think of it not in terms of donors, we think of it in terms of supporters. And so supporters can help in a number of different ways, either volunteering their time, volunteering their talents, and also providing donations back. And so, we're a 50-year organization that nobody knows about, right? And so it's important for us to also be able to innovate, because we've been we need to open up our organizations to invite those alumni back and to invite the younger generation in. And that's what we're doing.
And we're going to leave it there. Thank you all. Before we end today, I wanted to share a note with you about the music you hear. The theme song of our show, Dog Song, was composed by Sacramento musician John Taylor as a tribute to his beloved Labrador, Maggie. John passed away from cancer in 2011, shortly after knowing his song was selected for our theme. And recently, Maggie passed away as well. As we wrap up our 100th episode of Studio Sacramento today, we pay tribute to John and Maggie.
At Five Star Bank, community is at the heart of what we do. Every day we strive to have thoughtful solutions for our customers and help our communities prosper. Honest dialogue about the issues affecting the region is vitally important to that prosperity. We are proud to be part of the conversation and hope you'll join in.
All episodes of Studio Sacramento, along with other KVIE programs, are available to watch online at kvie.org/video.